What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Dead by Daylight video. Today, behavior dropped a bit of a bomb on you higher rank killers out there. But let's not start there. Let's start first with some changes that are coming to the Doctor. The Doctor's ability is getting a bit of a rework, one that kind of makes sense to balance things out and actually make you work as a killer. So as you probably know, the Doctor has an ability called Static Field that allows him to get periodic notifications of survivors that are in his terror radius as their madness levels increase. This ability allowed him to basically not do much work, but still allow him to find survivors, and that's why it's getting reworked a little bit. Instead of it being Static Field, it's getting reworked into a new ability called Static Blast. After charging the ability for a short duration, it releases a blast of static electricity throughout the Doctor's entire terror radius. Any survivors caught in that area or effect are shocked, causing them to scream and acquire an amount of madness. If their madness level increases, they also reveal their location to the Doctor as usual. Now, while the Static Blast is charging, the Doctor's movements are significantly reduced and there's quite a long cooldown for the ability. The point of this is to allow it to be a powerful location tool, but not to be all that effective when during the chase. Another interesting choice they made was to alter the snap out of it situation for survivors when they're trying to go from madness level 3 to madness level 2. In this situation now, if you miss a skill check, it doesn't reset the entire thing, but it actually just drops to 25% and you keep going from there. On top of that, when you're doing this, if you just stop doing the progression when trying to snap out of it, it will stay the same once you start it again. So if you accidentally release the button, if you stop doing the rework or you have to start running from the Doctor, you then will still just be able to go right back in that progression and start where you left off. Now let's talk about HEX Ruin. Ruin is getting quite a bit of a change. It's one perk that's used in pretty much all red rank games, which makes sense why it's being changed a little bit. Especially for new players, that perk can be extremely frustrating, as if you're not hitting great skill checks consistently, not only can you be ruining it for other players who are doing better than you, but you will just not be progressing at all, and it can be pretty confusing as well. Hex Ruin did need a nerf, but I'm not so sure this is the one for it. Then again, my opinion is a little bit different, as I haven't gotten to rock Hex Ruin as a killer all that often. So here's the thing now with Hex Ruin, it will still regress the generators at a 1, 1.5, or 2 regression speed, but the big change here is that Hex Ruin will no longer affect skill checks. What they're trying to do here was to take away the fact that the killer didn't have to work that hard to keep players constantly working and slowing them down. Now, for this perk to be effective, the killer has to be active at all times, kicking people off of generators in order to take advantage of that regression rate that comes from Ruin. And just the same as always, if the totem is in play, Ruin is still active. So maybe in the early steps of the game, it's not going to be as effective, which Ruin is currently. But now in the late parts of the game, the late final rundown situation, Ruin will be really effective as you're constantly regressing on gens as long as you are getting survivors off of them. Honestly, I don't know how I feel about it yet. I'm actually more curious about you higher ranked players. You know, I'm somewhere in the middle with Survivor, and I'm way at the bottom for Killer. So I feel like my opinion, I can't really judge it all that well. So if you're a higher ranked either Survivor or Killer, please let me know your thoughts on this change for Ruin. It's definitely interesting, the fact that it no longer affects skill check, and it's kind of similar to Pop Goes the Weasel now, as that was another regression perk, but at least this one affects all the generators at all times. I don't know. I still think it's really useful, at least when you see it on paper, but we'll see how it plays in the game. Speaking of which, this update will be going into the player test build starting today. So if you're interested, you got a PC, go check it out today. We'll be streaming it later on as well. That's pretty much it. Please, again, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, but that's going to wrap up today's video. If you enjoyed, make sure you drop a like and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this one. And of course, as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.